Hello. Hi, how are you? How are you doing today? How are you doing on this beautiful Monday? Hope you had a lovely weekend. I certainly did, and I went for a beautiful swim this morning and just loving sticking to my healthy routines and my habits. As you know, if you've been following me or you read my emails or you've been following me on Facebook, you'll know that I've started some new healthy habits, and that is getting out more, that is grounding more. I mean, just being out in nature, and I'm really noticing the benefits, so I'm loving it. I've also changed my sort of work schedule as well, and I've changed things around, so I'm absolutely loving it. So I'm answering a question today from a viewer of my Facebook Live on Friday. So on a Friday I came on and I said what my 5 top nutrition tips were. So I gave 5 nutrition tips. And one of the questions I've got is, how do you stick to this? How do you stick to having your green smoothie daily? How do you stick to doing exercise daily? How do I stick to this once the motivation's going? And this I see so frequently. It's like the motivation is there to do it, to get on with it, to do stuff. You know, you're feeling happy, you're feeling pumped. All the good endorphins are there, and then bam, a week into it, a few days into it even, the motivation goes, and so do the good habits. So you really need to knuckle down on a few things so that you can get these good habits really into your daily life, and you do them day in and day out, because it's the repetition, it's repeating them, it's doing them daily. That is what's going to get you the results. That's where you're going to get what you need and feel how you want to feel. So I just wanted to start there, and we're going to dive right on in. And for those of you that don't know me, my name's Naomi Judge. I'm a naturopath and a clinical nutritionist, and I help women connect the dots between their health, their happiness and their hormones. And today is a really important topic. You know, this topic about sticking to things is really important, because this is kind of make or break. It's not about doing fad diets. It's not about like doing a fad cleanse for a week. It's about implementing small habits. And for those of you that have done the breakthrough program with myself and Brenda, you'll see that we implement those small habits, you know, those small things, a little bit like the bounce back, the body bounce back 5-day plan. You know, so small habits we recommend you implement daily. And if this is something, if you want to get onto those habits and you want to get onto doing a bit of a cleanse program, I highly recommend that you have a look at the breakthrough program, because we've got a ton of things on there, including guest experts and cleansing and recipes, but we also talk about those daily habits. So here it is in a nutshell. You know, in terms of daily habits, one of the things is not setting the right goal, not setting the right goal for you, not setting one that's realistic, and not setting one that you can really resonate with. You know, you really feel it. Why is it you want to do and achieve what you want to achieve? What is your goal and why? And with my clients now, I really get into this. I get into this why, and I talk to them, you know, why do you want to achieve this? Why is it important? And you know, slowly they get there. I always ask my clients, what are your goals? What are your goals from working with me? What do you really truly want to achieve? Or as Lucifer would say, in Lucifer, because I watched an episode of that, I think when I was just tired, and it's on Netflix, he'd go, what do you truly desire? You know, it's like, what is it you really want? What are you aiming for here? You know, it can't just be abs, it can't just be to lose weight. What do you really want? And in the breakthrough program, we talk about that. We talk about your goal. I actually interviewed Kellyanne Buckley on this subject, and she's an expert goal maker. She helps people in terms of achieving their goals. And what we call it is, we call it your to be word. How do you actually want to be? So don't just think about the goal. Think about how you want to feel when you achieve that goal. Do you want to feel free? Do you want to feel happy? Do you want to feel confident? You know, do you want to feel sexy? How do you really want to feel? Because that's the word you need to go for every single day. There's no end goal where you get there. If you don't think about this daily, you'll get to your end goal of weight loss, but you won't have that to be word. You won't feel like you want to feel. So actually you won't feel like you've achieved your goal, and you're more likely to fail. So that's a really important part of it. Really set that goal, that intent, that purpose, and how do you want to feel? Who do you want to be inside? You know, what is there when you uncover all of that? And don't get trapped in the end result. Don't get trapped. Now, a lot of, Hollywood stars, a lot of people that are aiming to be famous, they get trapped in that end result. But because they haven't done the work each and every day, they get to that end result and they don't feel how they want to feel. So it's about those everyday bits that you're doing. So don't get trapped in that end result. Don't get trapped there. You can visualize it if that works for you. You can have vision boards if that works for you. But it's about those everyday improvements, because once you're at the end, that's not the end of your life. There's a lot longer to go. So you've got to think about this as daily small habits. And once you kind of come to that kind of realization that it's about how you are each and every day, and it's not just the end result, it makes it a whole lot easier, because it makes it easier to digest. It's not as overwhelming as maybe it would be if you were just thinking about this huge thing at the end of 6 months. I've got to lose 25 kilos. Whoa, that feels a bit much. That feels really overwhelming. But if you take it in small steps, how do you want to be? How do you want to feel every day? What improvements do you want to make today? What improvements from yesterday do you want to make? How do you want to change things today? That's how you've got to go. So that would be my first bit of advice. Don't start too big, and I just mentioned that. Don't start too big. Don't look on Instagram and see somebody on Instagram and think that's my goal. Really think of setting things that are realistic to you, and start small and start in bite-sized chunks. And so if you've got an end goal that's quite a big, say weight loss, just narrow it down to, okay, this is what I'm going to do and these are the steps I'm going to do each day, instead of obsessing over that end result. Sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. So your brain also is wired for that kind of that quick response, that happy response. Your brain is hardwired for that. It's hardwired to do what feels good. It's hardwired to do what it wants to do, but it definitely doesn't want to do anything that it thinks is dangerous. All it wants to do is keep you safe, and it doesn't want to do anything that is uncomfortable. So I love Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins has written the 5-second rule, and she talks about this, and she talks about how she's managed to change some things by actually adapting the 5-second rule. So you can do that with your habits. You can definitely do that. So you may not feel like doing something because your brain is hardwired to make you feel comfortable. What would you prefer to do? Be on a nice comfortable couch, or go and do a run? Eat some comforting food, or have a salad. A lot of people, they'll go for the easy, they want to go for the more comfortable option. Now, Mel Robbins talks about the 5-second rule, and the 5-second rule is about going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You move your body and you do what you need to do, and it gets your brain away from that little moment. It takes 5, 10 seconds for you to change your mind. How many times have you said to yourself, I'm gonna go for a walk, I'm going to go for a run, and within a few seconds you've actually managed to talk yourself out of it? Oh, if I got a little bit of a niggle, or I think I'm hungry, I shouldn't do this, or I've only just eaten, I shouldn't do yoga. It doesn't take you long to talk yourself out of it. So that's something else that can go on as well. Another thing is not having the support, not having a support network, not having people around you that are in it for you, and you've all got the same thing in mind, you've all got the same interests, and the outcome, you've all got the same outcome in mind. And so that's another thing you need to think of. Have a look at sort of the people in your life and who's supporting you for your end goal, who's supporting you for good habits, and maybe have a look at sort of changing that around, because you really need that support network. And if you haven't got it in people that are close to you at home, go further afar. Facebook groups, programs, you can get local groups, that kind of thing, running groups, climbing groups. So get a group of people that are really supportive, and you've all got that same interest, that same burning desire, because that is going to help you to stick to your habits so that you achieve the goal that you want to achieve. Also, know about decision fatigue. So this is another issue that a lot of people go through, and you may feel like this at the end of the day. I know I do. So you're constantly making decisions through the day. What am I going to wear? What am I going to have for breakfast? What time am I going to go to work? Am I going to get a coffee, or am I going to get a tea, or am I going to be healthy and get a green smoothie? Like all these sort of decisions, and especially the decisions where you're thinking, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? Your brain is just, it's going out of control. So what you need to do in these instances is take away as much of the decision as possible. This actually takes a little bit of practice, and this you need to think about. You really need to think about what things in the day you can take the decision out of. So I've already done that to myself. It's taken a long time. So clothes, for example, I pretty much wear the same clothes. I've got similar clothes. I've got the same tops for work. You know, I've got like 5 different tops that are the same. I've got a couple of pairs of trousers that are the same. I have standard things that I wear to work. And so that means that I'm not thinking, what shall I wear? What shall I do? What shall I do this? I've already written, I look at my calendar the night before and I make sure everything in my calendar is everything that I'm going to do. And that's set, so I don't have to make any decisions about that. On Sunday night, I go onto my Mind Body app for exercise. I look at my calendar. I cross-check them on Sunday night. Okay. Then I book in my exercise for the week. And so that way I can book it around clients or busy things that I'm doing, other things that I'm doing. So that's what I do during the week. So, and I book it in, that's booked in. I use the Mind Body app. It's wonderful for that. I love doing that. And I go to a couple of different places. So everything, I try and take away the decision. I've got times in my calendar when I do client follow-ups. I've got times like this Facebook Live was in my calendar. And so then I don't have to think and I don't have to make decisions. Dinner's exactly the same. I will always have written out what we're going to have for the week. I know what we're going to have for the week. So I'm not going into the supermarket thinking, what am I going to buy? I'm not finishing work and thinking, oh, got to make dinner, what should we get, what should we get? I'm thinking, umming and ahhing. Because the more decision fatigue you get, the less likely you are to stick to your habits. So it's about being really precise, being really purposeful, having your habits in place, and also trying to have everything else in place around you to support you to make these good habits that are going to support you, your health and your well-being. Also know that you're never going to feel like it. You're never going to feel like it. You're never going to feel like that run. You're never going to, if you're used to having coffee and a muffin for breakfast, you're not going to feel like the green smoothie over the coffee and muffin. You're going to feel like getting up at 6 a.m. and going for a walk. You're just not going to feel like it. So never look for the feeling. Never try and get that feeling. You've got to take the feeling out of it and you've just got to do the doing. And that's what's difficult because we're always waiting for that feeling. We're always thinking, well, the feeling will come. The feeling will come. So, and the feeling never does come. Well, it does after a while, once the habit's ingrained. Overwhelm and stress in your life will stop you following through on habits. So, if you've got overwhelm or stress about finances, overwhelm or stress in your relationships, overwhelm and stress at work, if you've got these overwhelms and stresses going on in the outer sphere of your life, you're less likely to stick to these healthy habits. You're more likely to say, oh, today I'm going to have a wine because I'm stressed. Oh, I'm too busy today and you can't think about the green smoothie, so you just pick up whatever. I did this one especially for you. I did it especially for you because I knew, I was reading through the questions and I knew you had this question, and I was listening to something yesterday and I thought, oh, actually I can do this one today. I can do this one today, and I was thinking of you. So there we go. It's because you asked the question last time. But the overwhelm and stress, so that's what will stop us. So that's why having these habits is so important, because if they're not habits, we're never going to do them in a life where we're stressed, we're busy, we're rushing from task to task. Another thing is, because of our brain's reward center, we look for getting rewards. Human beings, we want rewards. We want that dopamine hit. Chocolate, I get a dopamine hit. Sugar, I get a dopamine hit. Doing something comfy, lying down in my bed or lying on the couch or watching a TV program, I get a dopamine hit. But you don't get that dopamine hit between the thinking and the doing. So between that thinking and the doing, this is the critical, the thinking about exercise, doing, thinking about a green smoothie, doing, thinking about that salad, doing. So that's the gap that you have to close between the thinking and the doing. You don't get any happiness, dopamine, you don't get like that aha, yay, I'm fantastic, between the thinking and the doing. Once you think, do, and action it, that's when you get that happiness. You drink the green smoothie, yay, I feel fantastic. You do the yoga, yay, I feel fantastic. You go for the walk, yay, I feel fantastic. You get up at 6 and you've got up and you've got through that thing, yay, I feel fantastic. I've had the cold shower, yay, I feel fantastic. So no, the problem is the thinking and the doing. So what we want to do is we want to take the thinking out of it, and if it's a habit, then you don't need to think. If it's a habit, you do, you've done, you get the reward and you feel great. So this is the idea. Do not think about the habits you need to do. That's the biggest thing I would say. Do not think about it, because once you think about it, your brain will talk you out of it, and you'll do what will make you happy in the moment. And what will make you happy in the moment? Watching TV, having a cup of coffee, having some chocolate, lying down on the couch. That's everything that will make you feel happy in that moment between the thinking and the doing. So don't think, just do. And then you'll get the reward. Guilt and self-sabotage and shame. Guilt, self-sabotage and shame, they all come together, and the more we feel guilty about our actions, the more we feel shameful about our actions, the more we will self-sabotage ourselves. So it's hard, and you know, I've got over it and it's taken a long time. You know, I don't feel that guilt anymore. I don't feel that shame. If I choose to do something, I do it. And I think the best way to do it is actually to be really open about what you're doing, and, you know, never hide anything you're doing that you feel shameful for or you think you should feel guilty for. Try and get through it, try and get over it through support, but don't hide things. The more you hide, the more you will feel guilt and shame. So try and be open about where you are in your journey and where you're trying to go. And never do the I will start tomorrow. I will start tomorrow never works. I will start tomorrow. I'll stop drinking tomorrow. I'll stop eating chocolate tomorrow. I'll get up tomorrow at 5. I'll start tomorrow will never work. You've just got to set the goal, set the habits, and you've got to do. So the best way to stick to these is set the right goal. What is your goal? How do you want to be? How do you truly want to be? So I would definitely do that. Guilty is a big one. Yeah, feeling guilty is huge. Guilty about things. And I talked about this earlier, or did I talk about it in... I think I talked about it in a guilt post, in a blog post, you know, that guilt feeling. And it's about getting over not feeling guilty for things. And so if you're going to eat something that you think's not right for you, you're going to do something that's not right, you've got to own it. Own that square of Lindt chocolate I had earlier. Just own it. You've got to own it, and then you'll get over that guilt and that shame, and then slowly you'll get into better habits. But you've got to own what you do and never feel guilty, never feel shameful, because that's not the best thing. You know, if you want the pizza and you really truly want the pizza, you just own it and you have it, or you don't have it. Have it be happy or don't have it, one or the other. So set the right goal. What's the right goal for you? How do you want to be? How do you want to feel every single day? Do you want to feel happy? Do you want to feel confident? Do you want to feel strong? Like, how do you really want to be? Do you want to feel free? I know for me, my to be word is, I've got 2, but definitely freedom for me resonates. You know, why do I do what I want to do? And a lot of it's surrounding freedom. So every day I make sure that I create that feeling of freedom in my life, even though, you know, there might be some ties, some financial ties or business, whatever ties I've got, I've created it, trying to create a life where I do feel somewhat free each and every day. And that's where I'm going towards my goal, you know, my final goal. So for instance, we talked about this on the webinar that we did a couple of weeks ago, and we do talk about this in the Breakthrough program. My goal was a financial goal. So I wanted to save money because I wanted to buy a house. And when you really nutted it down, it was like, why do I want that? Why am I trying to save the money? And it came to actually being free, because I felt that if I had my own house, I would feel free, and then it would give me this, you know, this feeling. So now really what I try and do is I try and feel that every day, and then while I'm going towards my goal, and it's the best way to kind of get there. Don't expect to be perfect, and make things as simple as possible. So how you do this is you start with small habits. So when I started on my health journey, I didn't suddenly overnight, this didn't happen. I started on my journey, I would say it would have been back in 2004, about 2004. The first change I made was not having jelly beans for breakfast, sugar for breakfast. So I went from sugar to Turkish bread with Vegemite. Then I went from Turkish bread with Vegemite to oats, you know, even though they're quick oats. Then I went from oats to nuts and seeds and yogurt. Then this is over a span of like over 10 years. This is over a span of almost 20 years. Those small changes, you know, every time have created these habits, and this is why where I am today, how I managed to go through with all these habits, because I start and I just stick to things slowly. So start slow with your habits, have a few small habits, and instead of thinking about this massive goal at the end, think about improving every day. So just make a small improvement every day. Just be, I want to improve on how I was yesterday. Okay. So yesterday I slept until this time, and today I'm definitely going to be waking up at this time, and this is what I'm going to do. So it's every day small improvements. So just focus on that, making small changes. You know, you don't have to overhaul your whole diet. You don't need to be doing spin class every morning. It's just those small things. Big one is meditation. Meditation freaks people out because they think they've got to meditate for like half an hour. Well, no, you don't have to meditate for half an hour. You just start small, 2 minutes. You just do 2 minutes a day, that's great. And improve on your own self. Don't improve on what's going on in other people around you. Get support from people on the same mission. Join groups. Post on Facebook. Get people around you that, you know, love doing the same things as you do, and you all do it together. And then I've talked about this. Take the thinking out of it. Stop thinking and just do. Stop feeling and stop doing what you're feeling and just do what you know you need to do. And then just repeat. Rinse and repeat, and that's all you need to do. Small changes, small habits, stick to them, feel good about them, feel good about yourself, and just keep giving yourself a pat on the back, congratulating yourself, and getting those little dopamine rewards, because that is how we progress. And just the bottom line is just keep simple habits that, you know, that are simple, that you can stick to, and just keep adding, keep growing, keep making changes, keep, you know, improving on your own self, and just do what you say you're going to do, and just do it. And so just pick a couple of things this week and just stick to it. And that's all I can say. Just stick to it, and you'll feel fantastic about yourself. And the more you feel fantastic about yourself and you have those dopamine hits, the more likely you are to stick to your habits, and then the more likely you are to actually reach that end goal. So I hope that helped. I'm so hot here. I'm really hot. I've got like the sun coming in on me, so I'm baking hot. I'm like, whew, need to have a cold shower. So I hope that helped you, and because I know I did get that question quite a few times, so I hope you found that really helpful. I actually enjoyed thinking about this one and thinking about how to help people to stick to their habits, because it's a biggie, and I see clients every single day that have struggled with this. So I'm kind of glad I've thought about it a little bit more, and now I know I've got some great information to give to people to help them to stick to their healthy habits. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you so much for joining. And for those of you that are interested in the Breakthrough program, just to let you know that cart closes Tuesday night. We kick off on Wednesday the 21st. That's Breakthrough to Feeling Fantastic in a Body You Love. So I'd love to see you there. Join us. We talk about the simple habits, the daily habits, the things you can implement to reach the health goals that you want to reach. So until next time, I'll have a think of another juicy one this week. But until next time, take care. Have a great day, guys, and thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. Bye bye.